Learning as a continuous process. Learn, unlearn, relearn. In an age defined by relentless digital transformation, the accelerating pace of technological change has reshaped the meaning of work, the skills required to thrive, and even the mindset needed to remain relevant. Organizations across the world are navigating disruptions in artificial intelligence, automation, data analytics, and hybrid work models. Amid these shifts, the foundation for long-term resilience lies not in static expertise, but in the ability to learn continuously, to let go of outdated assumptions, and to rebuild perspectives in alignment with emerging realities. This is the essence of the cycle of learn, unlearn, and relearn, a developmental philosophy that transcends technical competence and reflects a deeper transformation of mindset and identity. Learning today is no longer an occasional activity confined to the early years of schooling or occasional corporate training sessions. It has become a perpetual process that permeates one's career, personal life, and social interactions. The world no longer rewards those who merely accumulate knowledge, but those who can adapt that knowledge to new contexts, discard what no longer serves them, and reconstruct new understanding with clarity and agility. In this sense, continuous learning is not simply a duty. It has become a survival skill, a source of relevance, and a gateway to innovation. The first dimension of this lifelong journey is the commitment to learn. As digital ecosystems evolve, the demand for new knowledge continues to grow. Employees today are expected to understand not only the fundamentals of their profession, but also the digital tools and systems that shape their industries. Learning includes mastering technical skills such as data analytics, artificial intelligence literacy, cybersecurity hygiene, digital collaboration platforms, and emerging software tools. Yet, technical proficiency alone is never enough. Modern workplaces require emotional intelligence, communication skills, collaboration, adaptability, critical thinking, and creative problem-solving, soft skills that determine how well individuals navigate complexity and work effectively with diverse teams. Learning in this context is both expansive and integrative. It invites individuals to explore unfamiliar domains, to connect interdisciplinary insights, and to cultivate curiosity as an internal engine for growth. Curiosity becomes a form of resilience, enabling people to face uncertainty with openness rather than fear. Learning also becomes relational, shaped through collaboration, mentorship, communities of practice, and shared projects. Rather than seeing knowledge as a private asset, employees increasingly view learning as a collective activity, something strengthened through dialogue, experimentation, and feedback. However, the challenge of the modern world is not merely acquiring new knowledge, but being willing to let go of what no longer aligns with current demands. This introduces a second dimension of continuous development, the ability to unlearn. Unlearning is often misunderstood as forgetting information or discarding experience. In truth, unlearning is a cognitive and emotional process that involves examining long-held assumptions, questioning habitual behaviors, and releasing outdated beliefs that hinder progress. It requires courage, humility, and the readiness to disrupt one's own patterns. Many obstacles to change stem not from a lack of new knowledge, but from attachment to old ways of thinking. In organizations, outdated bureaucratic habits continue to shape workflows, waiting for instructions rather than initiating action, upholding rigid hierarchies, maintaining the belief that seniority automatically equates to correctness, or resisting new technologies because they challenge comfort zones. These patterns may once have been effective, but in a rapidly evolving environment, they become barriers to innovation, agility, and collaboration. Unlearning asks individuals to confront these patterns. It calls for letting go of the assumption that experience guarantees relevance. It invites employees to reconsider the notion that one's identity is rooted in a fixed skill set, a certain method, or a particular role. It challenges the belief that new technologies threaten jobs rather than enhance capabilities. In this way, unlearning becomes an act of liberation, a process of clearing mental space to make room for new possibilities. This stage is often the most difficult, because humans naturally gravitate toward the familiar. Comfort can be a powerful enemy of progress. Unlearning demands both emotional maturity and intellectual honesty. It requires acknowledging that what was once effective may now be obsolete. It forces individuals to confront their own biases and limitations. Yet, the outcome is deeply transformative, a renewed openness to growth and a more flexible, adaptive mindset. The third dimension, relearn, completes the cycle. Relearning is not simply revisiting what one already knows. Rather, it involves reconstructing understanding through new frameworks, updated insights, modern tools, and contemporary contexts. Relearning bridges the gap between the past and the future, honoring previous knowledge while reinterpreting it with fresh perspectives. Relearning invites individuals to take earlier experiences and reinterpret them through the lens of new methodologies. For instance, traditional project management approaches evolve when relearned through agile frameworks that emphasize iteration, collaboration, and customer centricity. Long-standing communication skills become more relevant when adapted to digital environments, virtual collaboration, and cross-functional teamwork. Professional expertise becomes more effective when infused with data-driven decision-making rather than relying solely on intuition or precedent. This process demands intellectual flexibility. It requires shifting from rigid expertise to dynamic understanding. Relearning is particularly necessary in fields where the rules are rapidly changing: technology, finance, healthcare, education, logistics, creative industries, and more. Professionals must refresh their knowledge continually, reevaluating assumptions as new tools, insights, and innovations emerge. Relearning is also deeply tied to creativity. When individuals reinterpret old knowledge in new ways, they unlock opportunities for innovation. Insight emerges when past experiences meet new information. A designer who relearns design principles in the context of AI tools can create more intuitive customer experiences. A teacher who relearns teaching strategies in the era of digital classrooms can create more engaging learning environments. A leader who relearns leadership principles in the age of remote work can build more resilient and empathetic teams. In essence, relearning turns static expertise into dynamic capability. It ensures that talent does not stagnate, that skills remain relevant, and that individuals can evolve along with their environment. It transforms lifelong learning into a fluid, iterative, and enriching process. The cycle of learn, unlearn, relearn also demands cultural and organizational support. An environment that rewards curiosity, experimentation, and reflection strengthens learning. A workplace that acknowledges failures as learning opportunities enables unlearning. Leadership that encourages questioning, dialogue, and innovation fosters relearning. Conversely, environments that punish mistakes, discourage dissent, or cling to rigid procedures inhibit the entire process. Culture becomes a silent teacher. When organizations create systems that support continuous growth, mentorship programs, training modules, collaborative spaces, digital learning platforms, and feedback mechanisms, they cultivate a workforce that thrives in uncertainty. When they celebrate exploration, adaptability, and learning agility, employees feel empowered to challenge themselves and contribute meaningfully. At an individual level, the commitment to learn, unlearn, and relearn becomes a lifelong journey of personal transformation. It builds resilience, expands intellectual horizons, and nurtures emotional and psychological maturity. It shapes professionals who can navigate disruption with confidence rather than fear. It shapes leaders who can inspire teams through clarity and adaptability. It shapes communities that grow collectively rather than stagnate. In the larger context of society, this cycle strengthens social cohesion and collective intelligence. As global challenges become more complex, climate change, economic volatility, technological disruptions, cultural shifts, the ability of individuals and groups to learn continuously and adapt creatively becomes essential. Societies that embrace this mindset are more innovative, more inclusive, and more resilient. Ultimately, the philosophy of learn, unlearn, and relearn invites individuals to embrace change not as a threat, but as an opportunity. It reframes failure as an essential part of growth. It encourages humility in learning, courage in unlearning, and wisdom in relearning. It teaches that expertise is not a final destination, but an evolving journey. In this understanding, learning becomes a living process, a dynamic interplay between curiosity and experience, between tradition and innovation, between stability and transformation. It becomes a way of becoming, not just a way of knowing. It shapes not only professional competence, but personal identity, moral awareness, and purpose in life. The future belongs to those who can adapt. Yet adaptation requires more than skill. It requires mindset. The cycle of learn, unlearn, and relearn offers a roadmap for navigating complexity with clarity and confidence. It empowers individuals to grow beyond their limitations, organizations to evolve beyond their structures, and societies to flourish beyond their challenges. In a world where the only constant is change, continuous learning becomes the essence of progress. To learn is to open new doors. To unlearn is to release old walls. To relearn is to build bridges toward a future shaped not by fear, but by possibility.